Proud youngsters enjoying their night out with some of their heroes. Some big names, big stars in both teams. De Gea, Sanchez, Bale, Benzema. Should be an absolute cracker. They have met before in this competition, actually a 1-1 draw, which Real Madrid won 2-1 on penalties. This is how the teams line up. Manchester United unveil new signing Fred. It's his first start following his move from Shakhtar Donetsk. David De Gea is back in goal for the first time since the World Cup, and with Chris Smalling injured, it's a back four, which includes left-back Timothy Fosu-Mensah filling in at centre-half. Alexis Sanchez makes it 3 starts out of 3 in this tournament. Those are the Manchester United substitutes. Not a great deal of experience there. Lee Grant is a new signing from Stoke City in goal. Twanzebe has also featured in this tournament previously. Real Madrid also unveil a new Brazilian signing. Their 18-year-old striker Vinicius Junior starts. He's in illustrious company alongside Bale and Benzema in that front three. There are other youngsters fielded in Julen Lopetegui's first lineup. They include Uruguayan midfielder Federico Valverde and the central defensive duo of Jesus Vallejo and Javi Sanchez. Not a bad-looking bench, is it? Toni Kroos, Nacho, Lucas Vázquez, Marcos Asensio, all World Cup stars in Russia. '53 domestic titles between them, these two clubs. 16 European Cup stroke Champions Leagues. Eric Bailly, the United skipper, Karim Benzema wearing the armband for Real. The final handshakes, and any minute now we will be underway at the Hard Rock Stadium. Mata, who scored in a friendly against the Mexican club America in a 1-1 draw prior to this tournament. Confirmation of the American lineup officiating tonight. A smile for Gareth Bale as a new era starts for Real Madrid. David De Gea had his fair share of problems in the World Cup. He won't forget that spill from Cristiano Ronaldo in a hurry. But at least he doesn't have Ronaldo to face tonight. As Manchester United kick off, attacking the goal to our right-hand side. Well, Jose Mourinho has been tetchy, to say the least, in the run-up. He's complained about the players that aren't here. He's complained about the players that are here. He's complained about the club's transfer policies, complained about referees. I suppose he won't be complaining if United can beat Real Madrid, because of course they are such great rivals, and it would be a tremendous scalp.
Yeah, I think he'd be looking for a performance tonight from his players. I think when you're involved in these tournaments, which this tournament has been absolutely exceptional to watch, as a player, you get minutes under your belt. You get to this point where you're 10 days away from that opening game against Leicester. Now you're looking for performances. You know the players are physically fit, they're physically strong. Now it's just about tidying the loose ends up and looking at which players in the starting 11 tonight and which players are coming back. Jose's going to start for the opening game of the season.
Here's Timothy Fosu-Mensah, who's normally a left-back, but he appears to be playing on the right side of the central two, with Bailly on the left. Finds Darmian, who was captain in that game against AC Milan, which ended so dramatically. Both of these teams have won this competition in the past. Manchester United won it in 2014, beating Liverpool. Madrid won it the year before in the inaugural competition with a victory over Chelsea.
Just keep an eye on Manchester United's shape. They've chopped and changed. They've normally started with a flat back four, and in the second half they've reverted to a three. It looks as though in the opening minutes they've started with a three, which means Luke Shaw play left wing back and Matteo Darmian right wing back. Big season this for Jose in the Premier League.
Absolutely. I mean, there are rumblings and rumours that this could be the beginning of the end. Is that the way you see it?
Well, normally he struggles in his third year wherever he's been. You know, he's faced a sack, and you know, whether it be Real Madrid or Chelsea, he seemed to struggle. He's got his trophy in the cabinet for Manchester United. He's won one or two, but now I think with his arch nemesis and Pep rocking up next door, now I think what you're looking for now for these Manchester United players is to start playing well. So I don't think the Jose Mourinho Manchester United side can grind their way to the title. Normally he's done that with some other sides. Now the way City have raised the bar, Jose's still got some excellent players. If he unleashes most of them and let them fly, I'm pretty sure they might go close.
Well, one of those players is Alexis Sanchez, who's just been grappled by Jesus Vallejo, the 21-year-old central defender. You can see there, it's clearly a sort of tackle you might see when the Dolphins play here. But
I think that's the impression I get being a neutral, is when you've watched Manchester United over the last season to 18 months under Jose, I think now you're looking for a little bit of a progression. Now you're looking for, right, what type of football can you play? Because they've got some fantastic players, and Jose still is a world-class manager.
What about Lopetegui? I mean, it was extraordinary the way that Spain discarded him so close to the World Cup. Was he right or was he wrong to pledge his allegiance to Real Madrid at that particular time?
Well, maybe the board at Real Madrid could have done things different. I don't know why they felt as though they need to announce that Lopetegui was taking the job. They maybe could have left it until after the World Cup, but it was really bizarre circumstances.
Spain, of course, went out of the World Cup on penalties to the hosts. Here's Sanchez for Manchester United, who scored a terrific early goal against AC Milan. He looks sharp. It's not a particularly good cross though, and it's easily dealt with by Javi Sanchez, one of two young centre-halves that Lopetegui has given faith to. They do have Bale and Benzema in the starting lineup, but otherwise it's fairly unfamiliar.
Interested reading a few blogs. I mean, I know they're three-time Champions League winners on the spin, Real Madrid, but the blogs that I'm reading and the rumours coming out of Real Madrid is it might be sort of year where they're not going to challenge for a Champions League or La Liga, which I can't see because it's still a very talented squad, but they just maybe think they're lacking in one or two major signings.
Here's Sanchez for Manchester United. That's a very good ball, and it's an early chance which is spurned. And disappointingly so from Juan Mata, who just couldn't quite seem to get the ball under his spell. In the end, he flicked it wide.
It's a lovely little run. You can see him bending his run, Juan Mata. Nice little ball from Alexis Sanchez. And even on that left side, you fancy Juan Mata to do better there. Slightly sloppy in his first touch.
Scored in the final when Manchester United beat Liverpool in this competition 4 years ago. Those days it was a tournament that culminated in a final. Of course it isn't now, with the 18 teams playing 3 matches each and totals being totted up. Manchester United have only managed 2 points so far, courtesy of that penalty shootout win against AC Milan, which went long into the night. Real starting their campaign. Their next game is against Juventus, but Cristiano Ronaldo, we understand, is not going to be part of the Juventus squad for that game, and then they rounded off against Roma in New Jersey.
Looking forward to watching Fred tonight. I've seen him a lot last season playing for Shakhtar Donetsk. He's a real talented player, all left-sided, got brilliant technique. Normally plays in the 2.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, normally plays in the 2. I think that's where he's playing tonight.
Promising build-up by Real Madrid, with Vinicius Junior, number 28, at the bottom of your picture involved. Only 18. Made nearly 70 appearances for Flamengo in Brazil.
they're out of possession, almost playing with a flat back five.
There's Vallejo back to Kiko Casilla, who's preferred to Keylor Navas tonight. This is Theo Hernandez, who's French. Build up this by Real. Early ball in, Benzema! Just wide. Decent move by Real.
They look very sharp. Some lovely one-touch pass, a nice little overlap. Weighted pass from Bale. And the early cross to the near post of Benzema. And as soon as he takes that shot on, you fancy that's going to end up in the back of the net. Slightly goes past the near post, but anything on target would have troubled David De Gea from that distance.
He managed 4 goals in the last 18 matches of last season, though of course one of them crucially was that opener in the Champions League, albeit one that was rather gifted to him by the Liverpool goalkeeper. That was a chance at either end, Mata for United and Benzema for Real, and signs are with 8 minutes gone that this could be an open game. Here's Vinicius Junior. Useful looking crossfield ball, but it's well read by Luke Shaw. There's Bailly, who's been given the captaincy tonight, praised by Jose Mourinho for filling in late for Chris Smalling following Smalling's injury. Kicking of Kike Casilla has not been all it might be tonight. He's put one straight out of play, and the last one was pretty wayward as well. United lose the ball in midfield. It's a lovely touch by Vinicius, showing a bit of Brazilian flair there. Here's Fred, Manchester United's Brazilian, tripped by Benzema, free kick United.
Yeah, you can see the trick there from Vinicius, just trying to play one round the corner to Benzema, looking for the little 1-2. So a good awareness from the youngster. Nice little bit of skill from Fred. As I said, all left-sided. Very talented youngster.
In by Darmian, who might get a second chance here. A bit casual though, gives it away to Ceballos. A neat turn, a neat pass finds Vinicius. The latest wonder boy from Brazil, hoping to follow in the footsteps of Neymar, who was so often, of course, Real's nemesis at Barcelona. There's Fred. It's nicely done. Mata. Cross to Sanchez. It's a clever ball. Mata's onto it. Good save by Casilla.
Very good play. Sharp, Alexis Sanchez is tonight. You can see the way he started the game. His footwork's been very good. He's picking 1 or 2 passes to Juan Mata.
There's Bale. Dramatic introduction in Kiev in May.
There's that flat back 5. You can see Scott McTominay is playing as a third centre half. Fosu Mensah and Eric Bailly. So when they're out of possession, you can see the shape from Manchester United, allowing Real Madrid to have the ball in these areas.
This is Javi Sanchez, who joined Real Madrid at the age of 7, 21 years of age now. Benzema forward to Theo Hernandez.
Very narrow Manchester United, aren't they?
Yeah.
Leaving no gaps.
This is Ceballos. Now Benzema. Easy for Bailly to clear.
I'm pretty sure Jose's not finished yet. 1 or 2 players might leave. There's talk of Matteo Darmian maybe going back to Italy. 1 or 2 big players coming in, but he needs some signings through the door quickly.
Perisic has been mentioned, hasn't he? That'd be a
Fantastic
tremendous addition that would be.
Jose's
The World Cup he had.
fancied him for years.
Yeah.
Just can't get that one over the line.
Yeah.
You could see him up and down that left-hand side for Manchester United, couldn't you, Perisic?
Yeah.
Amount of work rate he goes through. Very talented player.
Real controlling things at the moment. This is Marcos Llorente, who has an extraordinary pedigree in terms of his antecedents. His father Paco was a former Real player who won a couple of Copa del Reys, but that's nothing compared to his grandfather, who was Paco Gento, who played alongside Alfredo Di Stefano and Ferenc Puskás in the Real Madrid team that won 5 consecutive European Cups in the late 50s and early 60s, and is now a honorary life president of the club. So he's got decent genes.
That's fair to say. He has got good genes, yeah.
Plays as a deep-lying central midfield player, number 18, centre of your picture there. Another of the younger players, 22 years old.
Yeah, as a sitter, isn't he? You can see he's a buffer. He likes to get the ball and play it out to the left-hand side, then he stays behind the ball. He's always an option, just drops in to that third centre-half position when you are in possession.
Here's Odriozola, the fullback who made his Spain debut in the World Cup qualifier in October. Didn't make the final party. Here's Ceballos. He's done well to get away from Fred there, and here's Vinicius. Let's see what he can do on the run. Ball into Benzema. Good challenge by Ander Herrera.
Yeah, you can see Vinicius looks a real player. Even the way he fizzed that into Karim Benzema. Tested the Frenchman's touch, let him down slightly.
Looks a very, very confident boy as well. South American Under-17 Championship with Brazil. He was the top scorer in that tournament and won the Golden Ball as the best player. That was the age of 16. On the run now, but being ignored at the moment by Gareth Bale. Who instead finds Ceballos. There's plenty of the ball. Here's Vinicius now. Ceballos again, and Odriozola's in a bit of space down the right-hand side. Going to take on Luke Shaw, who does well and finds Fred. Fred won 3 titles and 3 cups in his spell at Shakhtar. Here's Damian, who, as Don mentioned, is a player who's been linked with a move but has featured quite heavily in this tournament.
Well, I think what he is, Matteo Damian, he's got a fantastic attitude. Whenever he's called upon, I don't think he's ever let Jose down. And he'll keep going until he's told otherwise.
It's a useful looking ball. Offside though, frustratingly for United.
Love to know what Jose's thinking, where his team and where his squad are at. Right here, right now, 10 days before the first game of the season on a Friday night against Leicester.
And if you believe what he says, not in great shape would
No.
probably be the answer. I mean, he's
Not just
we know what he's like. Is it just bravado? I mean, he does tend to be a man who he plays the media quite cleverly, doesn't he?
The only thing I would say is I agree with some of the things that he said, because you know, with 10 days, 11 days before the Premier League starts, it's a worry when you see some of the players who've featured heavily in a World Cup, and not just Manchester United, other sides as well in and around Europe. And the seasons are about to get underway, and a lot of them are still not reported back for training. I know they need their rest, I totally understand that. But the season's not a million miles away from beginning, and you need time to adjust, time to acclimatise with new teammates. etc. You need a feel of the ball, get back into the swing of things. They'll be physically fit. I don't think they'll have a problem with that. But there's going to be a few sides going into the Premier League season in 11 days' time with, I don't know, 1 or 2 players from each squad that probably are not 100% fit.
I gather Rashford and Jones, fresh from England duty, have reported back to training camp in England. They're obviously without Pogba. Rojo's injured. Lingard, Young, Lindelof, Fellaini, Lukaku are all still recovering from the World Cup.
I think a few of Pochettino's men at Spurs are not due back until next week neither.
Yeah. It is difficult though. I mean, the World Cup is just over. I mean, you played in the final like Pogba, and obviously the English, Belgian players were involved in the third place playoff the day before the final. It's not a huge break. Anyway, here's Darmian for United. Good cutback, good goal. It's Alexis Sanchez again. Scored early against AC Milan. And has scored early again here to break the deadlock. And it's Manchester United who lead.
Lovely 3-man move. Ander Herrera started the first ball just in behind the fullback to Matteo Darmian. Got to the byline and he pulled a lovely ball back to Alexis Sanchez. You know he's got the quality in front of goal. That's a little ball from Herrera. Fantastic way to pass that one. Little pull back and a good finish, calm finish from Alexis Sanchez. Gets over the ball, keeps it nice and low. Nothing really the goalkeeper could have done about that.
It was a really good finish, swept in unerringly. And didn't make the best of starts necessarily at United, having made that move from Arsenal. And 2 goals in his last 15 matches of last season, 3 in all. But he's scored again in this competition. It's only United's 3rd goal of it. They were beaten 4-1, of course, by Liverpool. Andreas Pereira with a spectacular free kick. Sanchez has taken both his goals well, and just...
I think we'll see the best of Alexis Sanchez this season in the Manchester United shirt. I'm convinced of that. Took him a little bit of time. He was carrying a knock when he left Arsenal.
Has just dragged it out of play.
I don't think his fitness levels were too great. You know, I think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain had to go through a mini pre-season when he arrived at Liverpool. It shows you where some of the Arsenal players were at in terms of their physical fitness, and I think Alexis Sanchez was in the same boat.
He certainly looked sharp on this trip. He's been asked to start every game. I don't think necessarily Mourinho was planning to do that, but with all the absences that we've mentioned, they have picked up injuries as well. Antonio Valencia has gone home. Nemanja Matic is injured. Anthony Martial, here's another one whose future is clouded. He went back home to attend the birth of his child, which is absolutely fair enough. But Mourinho was critical of the fact that he doesn't appear to have come back.
Well, he had a quiet summer, didn't he, Alexis Sanchez? No World Cup. So he's got a bit of time on his hands. Now he's back, and as you said, he's played most of the minutes. Some players like that, when you haven't had a lot of training or games through the summer, sometimes you just want to get back training and get back as early as you can.
Here's Bailly clearing for United, leading by that Sanchez goal, which was beautifully set up by Herrera, who's on the ball here. And then Darmian provided the cross. Theo Hernandez has been fouled. It's a free kick to Real Madrid.
Not really started yet. 20 minutes in, Real Madrid, they've been quiet.
Reasonable amounts of possession, but other than that Benzema chance early on, they haven't really created anything to trouble David De Gea. He will be keen, I think, to get rid of the cobwebs after, by his standards, a very disappointing World Cup.
I think it's more so the tempo that they're playing at. It's quite slow at the minute, Real Madrid.
Here's Hernandez. 20-year-old Marseille-born Frenchman whose father played for Atletico Madrid once upon a time. Odriozola challenged by Sanchez, and Sanchez wins the throw. Certainly looks up for it, doesn't he, Alexis Sanchez? The one thing you generally get from him is effort. It didn't always come off for him in the spectacular fashion that Arsenal fans had got used to at United last season, but Yes, as you say, it's a player who's maybe going to find the second season a little more comfortable, having bedded in a little bit and got himself used to what is expected of him at Old Trafford.
He's a workaholic, isn't he?
Yeah.
Alexis Sanchez. You always know you're going to get graft from him.
Here's Benzema, very good tackle though by Luke Shaw, who started fairly assuredly on that left-hand side of the Manchester United midfield setup.
Sloppy there from Karim Benzema, a little 10-15 yard ball out to his right-hand side. He's claiming a foul, Alexis Sanchez.
Don't see much of Bale yet, have we, with nearly a quarter of the game having elapsed. Here's Pereira, the one who's cemented himself in this particular competition. It's good by Sanchez to find Mata, and Mata has found Darmian. This is promising for United. Get a second chance here, but Hernandez does well.
They look just a little bit casual to me, Real Madrid, especially Theo Hernandez. Had one or two lazy little touches.
Using the ball now. This is Ceballos. Good challenge though by Pereira, who then spoils it with a poor ball. It's good by Vinicius. His touches have been excellent so far, haven't they?
He's been the best player so far.
Yeah. He's trying to get on the end of this one as well, and he'll get there too. Vinicius Junior. Lovely play by the Brazilian. It just goes wide at the near post from Bale, but lovely play by the young 18-year-old formerly of Flamengo.
A lovely ball from Gareth Bale out wide. And this is where Fonseca doesn't want to be 1v1 in the 18-yard box. Lovely skill from Vinicius. Bale just trying to get to the near post to get on the end of the cross. But super skill.
Yeah, Fonseca on toast there, didn't he?
What a future this kid's got, only 18.
It's sensational. Scored 14 goals in 69 appearances for Flamengo before moving across to Spain. Completed the deal 11 days ago, although it was always known that he was going to arrive after one more season in his home country. It's a very good addition. Here's Juan Mata for United. Luke Shaw is arriving here. Shot was weak and blocked by Alvaro Odriozola. Real Sociedad. He's arrived to strengthen Real's squad this summer.
I think Manchester United players have been a little bit surprised how poorly the Real Madrid players have started, and I think they're realising if they get any sort of passing rhythm together, Manchester United, they can put 2 or 3 past this Madrid side very easily.
Here's Vinicius though, tearing away, almost tripped over his own feet, allowed Fonseca the opportunity to slide in and tackle. He was comprehensively beaten by him a minute ago, but Fonseca will be pleased to have got that tackle in. Swung across by Valverde, the Uruguayan, who's not yet made his full debut for Real. That was a solid tackle by Shaw.
A little bit naughty.
Was it McTominay?
Yeah, a little bit naughty that from Scott McTominay, because he knows what he's doing. He's tackled the player with a follow-through.
Odriozola's not at all happy about that, but the referee's let it go. There's a few things to say about referees during this competition, but that McTominay went unpunished. There's a United player on his knees there. I'm not sure whether that's an injury or just a slip. Now then, ball forward towards Juan Mata. He's having a look to his left-hand side to see if anyone's arriving. Sanchez knocks it back. Brilliant goal. United 2-1 up. And a Herrera on the end of it, but beautifully set up by Juan Mata and Alexis Sanchez. And Real Madrid have been sloppy and lethargic, have been punished. It's 2-0 to United.
It was coming, because they have been sloppy. They haven't got any rhythm, Real Madrid, whatsoever. Their passing's been off. Their tempo's been quite slow. when Manchester United go forward, and Herrera started this game 26 minutes in really well. Juan Mata's away. You can see the run of Alexis Sanchez. That's the partnership. That's the run that he wants to make. Nice little knock back. And Ander Herrera with a left foot finish, hard and low. Good technique and very, very good timing on the strike. But I said a couple of minutes ago, if United want to put the foot right down to the floor, they're capable of getting 2 or 3. And they've got the second.
Oh, what a good header by Sanchez. And what a crisp finish by Ander Herrera, who's not a goal scorer traditionally by any means. Only 2 last season, including the winner against Tottenham Hotspur in the FA Cup semi-final. But that was a lovely move. Mata given too much space though by Real. He had time to look across. Sanchez finding Herrera, and Herrera finding the net. Real Madrid finding themselves 2-0 down. Last time they faced English opposition, it went rather better than this. Here's Hernandez. Probably the best United have played of the 3 matches they've had.
Yeah, it's a combination of both. They are playing well, Manchester United. Juan Mata's obviously a threat, and so is Alexis Sanchez. Well, this man's side, young side, haven't started well at all.
No, it's not an illustrious start to his new managerial campaign. 27 minutes, the second goal came, and well, the scoreboard doesn't lie at the Hard Rock Stadium.
They've not really had to work for it, Manchester United, have they? It's been easy for them.
Yeah.
They're solid defensively, got good shape when they haven't got the ball.
I'd be delighted with Vinicius, Julen Lopetegui, but maybe not much else so far. Here's Bale though, finding Odriozola, back to Gareth Bale. This is Javi Sanchez. Vinicius.
Try and move that ball quicker, too many touches.
This is Odriozola. Now Bale. It's come through to Odriozola again. He doesn't want to touch it. Bale does though. Gets to the byline. And it's slid behind by Eric Bailly for a corner to Real. We're just short of half an hour gone.
Yeah, clever from Odriozola, because he knew he might have been offside, so he just allowed Gareth Bale to make the run. You see Luke Shaw go into ground. Good defensive cover there from Eric Bailly.
First real set-piece opportunity of any note for the European champions. Flicked away by Darmian. Only as far as Vinicius. Blocked by Mata. It's come back to Vinicius though, via the head of Shaw.
Very light on his feet, Vinicius, isn't he? Very, very sharp.
Passing has been pretty unerringly accurate as well so far. Bale just beaten to it there. The flying figure of Scott McTominay. This is Valverde. Hernandez out wide to Bale.
Can't show him inside on his left foot.
No. I've seen better from him in those sort of situations than that particular effort, but you're right. It's a risky manoeuvre, allowing Bale any kind of space to unleash that left foot.
Yeah, just Scott McTominay there. Know your players. You know, Gareth Bale, you shift him inside on his strong left foot. He's got a rocket of a shot. As we saw in the Champions League final, you said Karius made the mistake. We're absolutely right, so you've got to show him to the byline on his weaker right foot.
It's too short of 150 Real Madrid goals. Gareth Bale, as we break for refreshments. It's a warm old night in Miami, Florida.
Have you ever seen a better Champions League goal than Gareth Bale's? I mean, there's been some belters down the line.
The only one that would contest it is the Zidane volley.
I was there at Hampden.
Yeah, in Hampden Park.
I was there.
I mean, I think you'd have to say maybe that Bale's has a better goal because of what he had to do to make connection with the ball, whereas Zidane, it was just brilliant and instinctive. But Bale, I mean, the way that he managed to bicycle kick the ball in. We're watching the Manchester United goals, the second of which was beautifully set up and very well taken indeed.
Yeah, he won't get an assist under Herrera for the first one, but he should do, really, because it was a lovely little weighted pass in behind for Matteo Darmian for Alexis Sanchez's goal, and obviously he gets the goal. Lovely little layoff from Alexis Sanchez there. Good work from Juan Mata.
United fans enjoying themselves, and why wouldn't they? They're up against the 13 times European champions, and they're leading by 2-0. Who can come from the Caribbean to support them? Advice for Gareth Bale from the man who believes he can fill Cristiano Ronaldo's shoes. Whether that happens remains to be seen. You might be thinking that Vinicius Jr. might be the sort of player who can fill Cristiano Ronaldo's shoes. He's been absolutely brilliant in this opening 33 minutes. Really the only Real player who's shown any creativity, purpose and pace, really. He'll be a bit happier than he was a couple of days ago.
Come on, Jose, give us a smile. Just a little one.
Out of luck. So the fluids have been taken in, and David De Gea, who's not had a single thing to do so far. Look at the possession. Typical of the way Spanish clubs and indeed the Spanish national team play, and at times it doesn't really count for anything. One thinks of that game against Russia in the World Cup. Spain had masses of possession and did nothing with it, which is what Real have done really today.
Yeah, they had over 1,000 passes in one game. I don't think possession, especially in modern day football, is king anymore. It used to be, and we saw in tonight's game Manchester United absolutely cruising at 2-0 up. Benzema had half a chance early on, but Manchester United are being clever about this because they're allowing Real Madrid to have a lot of the ball because they're no threat at the moment. And every time Real Madrid come past the halfway line, Manchester United win the ball back. And then on the counter with Alexis Sanchez and Herrera and Juan Mata, they look dangerous.
Here's Fred, who had a promising start, but has gone a bit quiet. Now Llorente. Vinicius has gone across to the right-hand side now. Ball pushed across by Llorente again to Odriozola. Here's Vinicius. He just lifts everything, doesn't he, pace-wise, for Madrid when he gets the ball. Misplaced by Bale. Here's Mata. And now Sanchez, and United, who've countered profitably so far, look to do again.
Very good work there from Alexis Sanchez. Kept hold of the ball well.
Here's Fred. Sure.
I think it's quite evident that you can see where both teams are at in terms of getting ready for their new seasons. Real Madrid 19 days away from playing Getafe. Manchester only 10 days away from that Leicester game. They look sharper.
They do have that derby in the Super Cup, of course. Real against Atletico, winners of the Europa League. Derby in that big European clash. That's on August the 15th, which is 4 days before they open their La Liga campaign. They were never really in it last season after a very, very poor start, Real. One of the things Lopetegui will have to do is get them up and running far quicker than last season under Zidane.
He was under immense pressure already. You know, the job that Zidane done was absolutely incredible. 3 Champions Leagues on the spin.
Strangely, only one title, though, in that particular sequence. And they haven't won the Copa del Rey for a while either. Alexis Sanchez has gone down, fouled by Federico Valverde, the Uruguayan who played in the Under-20 World Cup last year, the one that England won. Uruguay got to the semi-finals. He was a big part of that. Here's Fred finding Pereira.
Keeping hold of the ball really well, and the switcher plays on because Darmian's got lots of room out over to this right-hand side. Luke Shaw's hugging the left side, and they're making the pitch, Manchester United, very, very wide.
Been by some distance the better team. Here's David De Gea. He's a virtual bystander, really. Here's Fosu Mensah. Now Bailly. Bailly, of course, has played in Spain for Espanyol and Villarreal. This is Llorente and now Hernandez.
Fullbacks are the key for Real Madrid. Theo Hernandez and Odriozola, they're the spare men. They've got to work that ball a lot quicker.
Odriozola, who's arrived from Sociedad, looks a little more accomplished than Theo Hernandez. He's a couple of years older at 22. Already a Spanish international. Lopetegui gave him his debut last October. Like what he saw and has brought him along here. But without profit really today. Here's Ceballos. Hernandez, one of those fullbacks, trying to create something. Benzema, quiet since that early chance went wide. Now here's Hernandez, strong run by the French fullback, but strong tackle too by Eric Bailly.
That's why he looks a better player, Theo Hernandez. The higher up the pitch he goes. I don't think defensively, even though he's still young at 20, 1v1 situations, he's not strong enough just yet, but going forward, he's a real good athlete.
Plays for the French under-20 side. Here's Odriozola. Bale. Useful ball. Chance for Llorente. No room to turn, but he's still going to keep possession. He's done well. Odriozola in. And Bailly again with a useful intervention. It was a little bit better from Real. A bit more pace and pep about that attack.
Yeah, much better because they're moving the ball quick and they've got forward runners. That's what they need. Gareth Bale spots a run, and that's what you have to do from midfield. If you're Marcos Llorente, try and make some runs. He wants a penalty. Eric Bailly's all over him, but he wasn't. He was just stronger than him.
First time Llorente's got forward, really. And, well, the last thing that Jose Mourinho needs is another injured defender. And at the moment, Eric Bailly is being treated by Andreas Pereira. Referee just keen to get him off the pitch so that he can receive treatment or get back into position so that this corner can be taken. I think he's going to be okay, Bailly, but Antonio Valencia has had to go back with a calf injury. Chris Smalling has picked up an injury. Shaw has had a niggle. Bailly has had a niggle himself. Rojo is still sidelined following an injury in the World Cup, so Manchester United's defensive problems are piling up and Bailly's back down on the ground.
Now this will be a worry for Jose. Couldn't quite see where he got the injury.
Well, it was just a simple interception, really, wasn't it? And Bailly's had a good game so far, captaining the side tonight.
Unless it was where he took the block, might have been in a painful area.
Yeah.
But normally as a player, you can shake those off pretty quickly.
I was going to say that's preferable to what you might call a longer lasting injury. Let's have a look. It's a big, yes, that might have been a very, very painful blow indeed.
Might have just winded him slightly.
Gives the crowd a chance to get a few snapshots. With 3.5 minutes left of a first half in which Manchester United have been very impressive. Alexis Sanchez firing them in front on 18 minutes after excellent work by Herrera and Damian. And Herrera then finishing off a move 9 minutes later with a good finish. Bailly's off the pitch and the corner is taken, with United at the moment down to 10. Odriozola. Ball in by Llorente, flicked away, and then the clearance is completed by Luke Shaw, who's had to go across to the right as United temporarily reshuffle their defensive situation with Bailly off the field. It's been a much better day so far for Jose Mourinho and Manchester United. Few who saw it will forget that penalty shootout against AC Milan, in which 26 kicks were taken, 9 were missed. United scored 9 to Milan's 8, but then I think came crashing back down to earth as they lost 4-1 to Liverpool, which is not something Manchester United fans will ever be able to take with any great grace.
I think he'd be pleased tonight though, Jose. The result going into half-time, if it stays like this, they've been comfortable, but some of the individual performances, Scott McTominay's done well as a third centre-half. I think Matteo Darmian's played well. The standout players has probably been Juan Mata and Alexis Sanchez. Fred's had some neat touches, hasn't been heavily involved in the game.
Well, that's a bit of a stumble by Herrera there, but he's got away with it. You're right, Mata and Sanchez have been United's best players throughout the tournament, really. Darmian took his eye off the ball. It's a throw to Real Madrid, right in front of Jose Mourinho's dugout. Real have, well, they haven't looked like Real Madrid at all, have they, tonight? They've been ponderous. It is a team which, despite the presence of the Galacticos, Bale and Benzema, is an inexperienced side, but an awful lot to show their new manager that they should be in his thoughts going ahead.
Well, Karim Benzema, apart from that early chance, has been quite anonymous. I think Gareth Bale's had some good touches. Vinicius has been their best player.
Here come United with Juan Mata. Cover is provided by Jesus Vallejo. Sent off on his debut, Vallejo, last season in a cup game against Fuenlabrada. Looks like United are going to get to half-time with a comfortable lead. Shaw. And again. Sanchez is in the box. It's nodded away from him by Hernandez.
Just all a little bit too easy. Any give and goes. And Real Madrid's youngsters at the back are just switching off. That's far too easy. Just tries to stand one up at the far post towards Juan Mata there, Luke Shaw. That's all he can do from that angle.
Corner for United as we move into 4 minutes of added on time. The Bailly injury and the water break adding up. Juan Mata to take it. Only as far as Herrera shoots, and fortunately for Real, Jesus Vallejo was there to block. Want to go 3-0 down before half-time. Maybe they can pinch one back, but Odriozola's gone over, wanting a free kick. Here's Bale. He's now back on the field. That was him hooking it away there, so that's good news for Mourinho. Here's Pereira. Wonderful free kick. Didn't really paper over the cracks against Liverpool. De Gea clears. Sanchez beaten by Vallejo.
Still got one of the best central midfields in Europe, Real Madrid, when you think of Casemiro, Toni Kroos and Luka Modric.
There's quite a few very, very impressive players on the bench for Real. But quite a few missing as well from the World Cup. Varane, a winner. Marcelo, Casemiro, Modric and Kovacic to resurface after their efforts. Kovacic and Modric runners-up, of course, to Rafael Varane's France.
Player of the World Cup for me, Luka Modric. I thought he was excellent.
Yes, magnificent. Here's Bale finding Sanchez. Javier Sanchez, that is. We've got a Sanchez on each team. Here's Bailly moving freely again.
The one thing I was very surprised at, having watched Luka Modric over the last 10 years, was the engine. You know, at 32, the amount of games that Croatia went extra time, and he was still full of running.
They had a magnificent midfield, didn't they, with Rakitic, Perisic and Modric all involved. Here's Hernandez for Real. Oof, and they've poached a goal just before half-time, and it's the Predator, Karim Benzema. Well, he'd been quiet up to that point, but he's got Real Madrid from nowhere, really, back into the game in first half stoppage time. Manchester United 2, Real Madrid 1.
United absolutely just switched off. Lovely ball in from the left-hand side. You have to track the run just before half-time. One of the deadliest poachers in Europe, Karim Benzema. Good cross in from Theo Hernandez. There's confusion between Scott McTominay and Eric Bailly, who's actually picking the run up. Easy finish in the end. That was the easy part for Karim Benzema. Should never be allowed in there.
Well, he's 8 short of 200 goals for Real Madrid. Karim Benzema be looking to reach that milestone once the new season starts, but he had an early chance which he put wide and contributed very little for about half an hour, but has popped up in the right place at the right time, as he so often does.
I think the bizarre thing about that goal is 3 players, David De Gea, Eric Bailly and Scott McTominay, all very, very static as that cross come in.
Well, Manchester United will be very, very disappointed to end the half like that, because they had the game in the palm of their hand. Goals by Alexis Sanchez and Ander Herrera, both really well taken, put them in command. Real Madrid provided little or nothing until Benzema popped up, and it's going to make the second half very interesting. At half-time, it's Manchester United 2, Real Madrid 1. Referee just preparing to blow his whistle to get us underway for the second half. Real Madrid have got Martin Odegaard, who is a promising young Norwegian international, on for the second half, as well as Sergio Reguilon, who is a defender, and replacing Theo Hernandez at left fullback. Up to 11 substitutions permitted in these International Champions Cup matches, which obviously allows the managers the opportunity to look at as many players as possible, but sometimes disrupts the flow of things. Underway anyway for the second half, with Real Madrid in their traditional strip, attacking the goal to our left. And here is young Odegaard finding Llorente. Odegaard has come on for Benzema. Bale has also gone off. So, no Benzema, no Bale for Real Madrid. Clearance there by Darmian under very little pressure. has conceded a corner as Dani Ceballos picks himself up after a knock, which was not really created by any pressure at all from a Manchester United player. He just went down holding his ankle. He's up again now. Here's the corner then. Only half cleared by United. Follow-up shot is rattled in by Vinicius. Good start to the half by Real. Here's Vinicius again. He was excellent in the first half. Path to the penalty area is blocked by Luke Shaw. Odegaard is fouled rather unceremoniously there by Pereira.
Yeah, Vinicius in the first half was really bright. It's nice to see Odegaard on the pitch tonight as well. Another bright young player. Terrific technique, all left-sided. Got wonderful vision. Just got to try and break through into this Real Madrid first team. Difficult ask. He's got the talent.
Well, they've also changed their goalkeeper at half-time. Andrei Lunin, who's at 19 already, a Ukrainian full international, is on for Kike Casillas. He hasn't seen the ball in his half yet because Real have been pretty dominant in the opening 3 minutes of the second period. United will look to try and do something about that. Here's McTominay playing in a slightly unfamiliar role as a auxiliary centre-half, normally a defensive midfield player. De Gea has scooped the ball straight out of play to invite more pressure on those defenders in front of him. Julen Lopetegui, I'll get it right in a moment, has shuffled his pack considerably. Jose Mourinho still has a few cards up his sleeve. It's neatly done by Pereira.
Yeah, I would have thought Jose might just leave it another 15-20 minutes, try and get to an hour mark. And he might just make one or two changes.
Fred with the ball down the line. It took a deflection on its way through. Mourinho shouting encouragement to his United players. For 95% of the first half with a better team. Here's Herrera. It's not going anywhere in particular, and Shaw has already given up the chase there.
Difficult to know what you do if you're Jose in this situation where you're winning 2-1. Real Madrid have made lots of changes, got youngsters on the pitch. Do you try and leave a lot of first-team players on the pitch to try and rack up a 3 or 4 easy-ish win and gain lots of confidence from it? Or do you make 1 or 2 changes yourself and give 1 or 2 youngsters an opportunity?
Here come Real, who've been the better side early doors second half. Here's Vinicius, who's been particularly impressive. Good tackle on the edge of the box by Ander Herrera, though, but United have lost it. And the shot is fired wide. They've been under pressure very much so in the second half, United. Slightly concerned looks from some of those supporters.
Had a strange World Cup, didn't he, David De Gea? Not at his best.
Actually wouldn't have counted that shot when it came in because it was a foul that led to it. Boya Mayoral, one of the substitutes, hit it, but there already had been an infringement. Here's Fosu Mensah, another one who's having to play in a slightly different position in this second half, and having generally played as a fullback for most of his career, is filling in at centre half. Tackle by Herrera is a good one. Just to confirm, Borja Mayoral, Martin Odegaard, Sergio Reguilon at left back, and the goalkeeper Andrei Lunin are on for Real in the second half. Hernandez, Bale, Benzema and Casilla have been taken off. Here's Valverde. This is Reguilon, the left fullback, who has been at Real Madrid since he was 8 years old. Captain of their B team. That's a lovely ball. And here's Odriozola at pace. Hangs the cross up, but there's no one at the back post, and Darmian scoops it away.
That's been a feature of the young man's game. Odriozola at right back, he's trying to get forward as much as he can. In the first half, he got to the byline, put 1 or 2 crosses in. Showed good pace there. Mayoral just couldn't catch the play up.
He had an excellent season with Real Sociedad, made 42 appearances for them in the last campaign, and of course won his first cap for Spain as well. Here he is again. Much more purpose and much more cut and thrust about Real, it seems, in the second half. Llorente, who's been given the armband, plays it forward, the man with such illustrious ancestors who've helped shape Real's history. He'll be looking to shape its future. Here's Vinicius, another who'll be looking to do that. It looks very promising indeed, although that's not the best pass he's made all night.
I think you can see the team talk at half-time from Lopetegui. I think he's got his players playing at a faster pace. The tempo's a lot better. The passing's a lot crisper.
It's not just me who's having trouble pronouncing it. I don't know why. Lopetegui, it's just a difficult one. Into the box it comes from Real, and the shot by Mayoral is blocked. United have started the second half completely on the back foot. We haven't even seen a shot of Andrei Lunin yet, the Ukrainian substitute goalkeeper on your screens. There's so
Can't
much
get hold of the ball so
no.
far, Manchester United. Real Madrid have started really well in the second half.
There's Vallejo. They're keeping possession, but with more pace, aren't they, at the moment than in the first half? Here's Odegaard, the Norwegian who had a loan spell at Heerenveen in the Netherlands last season. This is Odriozola, now Odegaard again.
Covered a lot of his games last season with Heerenveen. Martin Odegaard, and he played really, really well. He plays off that right-hand side, cutting in on his strong left foot. He can find a pass. He's got wonderful vision.
Ceballos. Odegaard again, great tackle by Herrera though. They just cannot get the ball clear, United. Ceballos again.
Well, they're better Real Madrid now out of possession, because they're trying to win the ball back high up the pitch.
Good strike, but when it left his boot it looked more promising than it ended up being. But, maybe Sanchez, the centre-half, thought it was worth a go.
The first half out of possession, Real Madrid were just a little bit passive. They were allowing Manchester United players just to knock the ball about. In the second half, they're trying to win the ball back as quick as they can. And they look a better side for it.
De Gea will have his sights on actually trying to get the ball into Real's half for pretty much the first time in this second half. It's quickly out of it again. Bailly forward though. See nothing of Sanchez or Mata in the second half yet. There's a clip there and a late tackle which will be penalised by the referee. He's kept a fairly firm grip on things without interfering too much, which is all you can ask. Here's Llorente finding Reguilon. Scored 8 goals in 44 appearances for the juniors last season, Reguilon, and given a chance here at left fullback for Theo Hernandez. This is Martin Odegaard, who, would you believe, made his Norwegian international senior debut at the age of 15. Became the youngest player in their history. He then played in a European Championship qualifier and became the youngest player of any nation to appear in that qualifying competition. Extraordinary start to life, really, when you consider a 15-year-old player as an international footballer.
I spoke to Jan Fjortoft, an old teammate of mine, a few years ago about him. He absolutely loves him. He said he's going to go right to the very top.
Here's Vinicius going right to the heart of the United defence, it seems.
Oh.
And beautiful cutback. Oh, and it's put over the bar. Well, that was the chance that Odegaard wanted to come his way, and he couldn't quite take it. It's a lovely move. Vinicius initiated it.
Oh, he should score. He'd love that one back again. It's a good ball out on the left-hand side, just drilled back into Odegaard's feet. Anywhere low, he scores. David De Gea is absolutely fuming at the marking.
One criticism of him perhaps is his goal-scoring figures in the Eredivisie. Last season, only 2 in 25. Not enough, perhaps, for a player who's a very attacking midfielder.
Yeah, certainly when you're playing in that position, and he plays in that 3 in behind the central striker, you should be looking for in and around double figures.
Here's De Gea clearing, but clearing poorly again. It's not the first time he's put it straight out of play.
Can't get a foothold in the game in the second half, Manchester United, unlike the first half.
First half they were dominant. Second half they're being dominated at the moment. Forward by Vallejo. Bailly decides to take the ball by the horns. Now Sanchez. Great strength and great balance from the Chilean. Fred. Shaw. This is better from United. And a Herrera. Luke Shaw again. It's a bit long, but it might be rescued far side by Darmian. Quickly snuffed out though by Sanchez.
Oh, skill.
And again Vinicius. Well, he was brought down in the end, but he's treated us to some really telling glimpses of just how talented he is.
Very early on, but he reminds me of a young Ronaldo when he was at Manchester United, the trickery that he's got. He learned, you know, he just gets clipped in the face there from Darmian, but he learned when he gets higher up the pitch to make better decisions. You think of where Ronaldo and Nani were at the same time in Manchester United. Ronaldo learned the final product and the end product. Nani just couldn't quite get it right.
He's not going to thank you as a Real Madrid player, aged 18, to be compared already to Ronaldo. It's a hard act to follow.
Oh, I'm not comparing him. I'm just saying you can see he's got the trickery. You can see he's got the confidence. Yeah. Ronaldo had all of that coming from Sporting to Manchester United. Just didn't have the end product. And Sharp learnt it under Fergie.
Well, maybe we can compare them when he's got 450 goals for Real Madrid.
When you've got more goals in games.
Yeah. Here he is on the ball, though. He's been impressive tonight. He really has. It's been one of the features of this International Champions Cup is the number of quality young players we've seen. And it strikes me that, you know, Vinicius is only 18, but a lot of the youngsters are really confident at a young age with the ball at their feet. The way they're trained now, they just seem unfazed by, you know, big stadiums, big crowds, big opponents. It's great to see.
A lot more confident. We worked on Bayern Munich, Man City the other day, and Man City had 4 or 5 young players. Nemecha played really well. Raheem Diaz, Eric Garcia, Luke Bolton. As you said, fearless.
Phil Foden as well. Here's Fred for Manchester United, making his first start for the club since joining from Shakhtar. He came on as a sub in the disappointing game against Liverpool. Here's Fosu Mensah. Just a bit sloppy there on the far side by Darmian. We're going to get some substitutes now with the hour mark having been passed. Looks like Real Madrid are going to bring on Raul de Tomas. He's a 23-year-old attacker. Came from Real Madrid's youth team initially. He's had spells at Valladolid and Rayo Vallecano. Scored 24 goals for them last season in 32 appearances, so he knows where the net is. Vinicius has gone off. Also on is Sergio Lopez and Oscar Garcia. Oscar Garcia is a 19-year-old attacking midfielder, and Sergio Lopez is a right fullback. Still no movement from the bench from Manchester United. Real now have 7 substitutes on the pitch. Here's one of them, Sergio Lopez, born in Germany actually. Very quick right-sided defender. Here's Llorente. And they maintain the pressure that they've had as they seek parity with these substitutions that they've made.
Marcus Llorente is having an impact in the second half. Number 18, central midfield. This man here, this young boy here, keeping hold of the ball. He's picking some clever passes.
Here's Odegaard.
Just a deep line midfield player, always an option.
Much the better team. All down the line, it should be shepherded out by Darmian, but it's brilliantly kept in. Darmian tries to recover. Still Real come forward, and the shot in the end is quite a long way wide. And he's just come on. Oscar almost joined Manchester City last summer. Look out for him with set pieces. It was down to some splendid play down that left-hand side, which set it all up by the overlapping fullback Sergio Reguilon.
I just wonder if Jose will make 1 or 2 changes, because for the first time in the game I'm just looking at the Manchester United players, and 1 or 2 just look a little bit drained, a little bit tired.
Odegaard trying to get it through. Pereira tidies up and finds Fred. It's a nice little flick by him to Sanchez, who's had to come very, very deep with the play all happening behind him at the moment. United just need someone to put their foot on the ball and try and slow down the pace of Real Madrid's attacks at the moment. We're going to get another drinks break.
And that's where their experience should tell. Just keep hold of the ball. Keep possession for a few minutes, take the sting out of the game.
Drinks break there was very brief.
Lopetegui will be happy. I think his young players, especially in the second half, are performing well.
Here's McTominay for Manchester United, who at last are enjoying a small spell of possession. Shaw.
It's better. Just little 5-yard passes, keeping hold of the ball.
Here's Fred. Vinicius, the other debutant Brazilian, has gone off for Real Madrid after a sparkling hour of showcasing his potential. Here's Fred still on. Mata giving it away though. Forward by Valverde. This is Borja Mayoral. Cut out by Luke Shaw, who's heading in towards Real Madrid territory. Finds Sanchez. Sanchez is tackled. Llorente wins it.
How good's he been?
As well, very good. Yeah, looks very
So
composed.
relaxed, yeah, so relaxed on the ball.
Good tackle by Fosu Mensah for United, but still they come. This is Reguilon. On the opposite side now, Sergio Lopez.
Difficult ask trying to replace, or displace, should I say, Casemiro at the Real Madrid side, but
yes.
Llorente looks as though he's played this position, this holding midfield position, for a number of years. Only 23, but he keeps hold of the ball really well. He has good positional sense as well. Always behind the ball. You see him in the centre circle, he's always an option.
Well, they've had all the possession, but they need a goal to get themselves back in it. That's not the pass with which to find it. It'll ease the pressure a little for Manchester United. Yet to win, of course, on this American tour. Unless, of course, you count the penalty shootout win over Milan. Here's Fred again, finding Sanchez. And United, having soaked up pressure, create some themselves. They've got a free kick.
He's working hard enough, Alexis Sanchez. Just needs a little bit more quality around him. Almost like he's trying to do everything on his own at the moment.
Get some substitutions now from Jose Mourinho at the midway point in the second half, I think. Fred has come off, and in comes Axel Tuanzebe. It's a defensive change for Jose Mourinho. Tuanzebe primarily a defender, Fred a midfielder. What do you make of Fred from what you saw?
Well, I've seen him a lot. He hasn't played particularly great tonight. I think he's had some very neat touches. You can see he's a confidence player, still getting used to his teammates, still recovering from his injury. He picked up very early on when he signed for Manchester United, but I know he's a player. Just to take a little bit of time.
That's brilliant by Llorente. And De Gea had to be very sharp there to just fly hack the ball away from De Thomas. There's a danger. You mentioned very good goal-scoring record in the Segunda División last season. Llorente finding Lopez. Odegaard. Lopez again. Just a finish lacking really for Real, who've been brilliant in the second half in all but that particular end product. Here's McTominay battling hard for United, who... That's lovely by Pereira, but they're still penned in as the substitute Tuanzebe gets it back to De Gea. Flick on was a good one by Sanchez. Mata claims he was fouled. Referee disagrees.
It looks as a little nudge in the back there on Juan Mata.
There's Valverde. Odegaard. Llorente, who's pulling the strings in midfield at the moment. Lopez. Here he is again, Llorente.
Just looks very comfortable on the ball. I love the way he takes it on the back foot, allows the ball to come across his body.
So waiting for reinforcements. Herrera finds Shaw. This is Sanchez. It's lovely by him, and Shaw has continued his run here. A very good cross, and in truth, not many red shirts for him to aim at from that wide position.
I think they look a little bit tired. I'm looking around, I'm looking at Juan Mata, Alexis Sanchez. Doesn't seem any sharpness in their legs at the moment. They're just getting behind the ball, just getting back in their slots.
That's another good ball forward. He's blown his whistle. De Thomas penalised. Manchester United move on from this into another friendly, and a prestige one at that, at the Allianz Arena against Bayern Munich. And we've already seen in this International Champions Cup, beaten last time out by Manchester United's rival City. Don't mention, terrific display by City's youngsters, coming back from 2-0 down against a team who included Frank Ribéry and Arjen Robben. Here's Pereira. Shaw. Just pinched off him by Odegaard, who did well coming back. Again, it's Llorente trying to make things happen. Here's Sanchez, though, for United. Mata can't quite offload it.
They're well schooled, aren't they, some of these young players?
Yeah.
They can half handle the ball. You can see they're just not thrown together. They're combination play is really good. Know their positions as well at a very early age.
Oscar with the crossfield ball. Lopez the recipient. Socks rolled halfway down. Llorente.
I'm trying to think when I was at Liverpool at 19, 20,
Odegaard,
21.
sorry, wants to shoot here. And was loose in the box just for a second before Bailly scooped it away. Sorry, Don.
That's fine. I was just saying, when you're 19, 20, 21, you think you know everything about the game. You don't. You get your experience once you're churning out 30 games a season. But these youngsters have been absolutely fearless in this competition. They all look as though they can handle the ball. Been some brilliant performers.
Yeah, from the famous Castilla setup at Real Madrid. Hotbed of talent for many years. The kick goes by Lopez to goalkeeper from Ukraine, who we've barely had a sight of, Andriy Lunin. He's played for Dnipro and Zorya Luhansk. He's made 41 appearances in the Ukrainian top division and 2 appearances for the Ukrainian national team. Still only 19, joined Real Madrid in June. Has not been involved at all in the second half.
Well, United can't really get over the halfway line at the moment.
Lopez with the cross. Header away is by Tuanzebe. Here's Llorente, who's been the main man certainly in the second half. That's clever by Odegaard. Oh, now is that a foul by Luke Shaw? And if so, where? Just outside. You just see a divot there by the referee's left foot. Good decision by him. And a potential goal-scoring opportunity for Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's almost,
Valverde brought down.
It's almost like you're watching a Manchester United in the Premier League game when they're hanging on. You know, because they're 2-1 up. They're showing no real signs or quality, especially in the second half, of trying to go and get the third. So they're staying in the position, staying in their slots. But they're playing up against some very young players. You would have thought once they went 2-0 up, they would have been absolutely cruising in this game.
Odegaard's going to take the free kick. 19-year-old Norwegian. 3-man wall for him to try and negotiate. Well, will be disappointed if they don't get something out of this game. Odegaard shoots. De Gea punches clear fairly comfortably, and Herrera completes the clearance. And here's Odegaard again. That's nice. Here's Lopez. Can't find a way through. Just didn't sit up properly for Oscar. And that's a decent piece of enterprise from Real Madrid.
Yeah, not an easy one to hit that from Oscar. A good strike from Odegaard. They keep the ball alive. I fancied he'd take this on. Easy, really, for David De Gea.
Well, it's been one-way traffic in the second half as we have a break for drinks, but De Gea, it's the only real save he's had to make that one, and it was a relatively comfortable one. We're into the last 15 minutes almost, and the score remains unchanged despite all that Real Madrid pressure in the second half from Julen Lopetegui's men.
Bringing some big names on. Seen Toni Kroos there, Isco, Asensio.
Let's have a look at how the goals went in that first half then. Manchester United in front, and a Herrera's cross. Excellent finish by Alexis Sanchez.
Very good strike. Good work from Darmian. Good finish that from Sanchez. And this is Juan Mata. Alexis Sanchez far post, and a Herrera with a strike.
United in total control at this point. Lovely header by Sanchez. Good connection too by Herrera. 2-0 up after 27 minutes and not under any great threat. But then, in first half stoppage time, Karim Benzema on the end of a cross by Theo Hernandez. Touching a goal.
Changed the game, because as you said, on 27 minutes, Man United were 2-0 up, looking as though they're going to win the game by 3 or 4 because they were that comfortable. That goal just before half time, it's got Real Madrid back in the game.
They're going to Let's have some more Real Madrid substitutes now. Isco is coming on. Marco Asensio is coming on. And Toni Kroos, as you mentioned, Don, saw them all warming up, and they are all on. All having played in the World Cup for their respective countries. Toni Kroos, of course, scoring that sensational goal with a free kick late on against Sweden for Germany, but not enough to avoid the ignominy of the Germans going out at the group stage. Isco and Marco Asensio, both part of the Spanish setup, who were beaten by hosts Germany, host Russia, I should say. Isco scored in the group game against Morocco. Confirmation there of the substitutes.
Probably the biggest underperformers in the World Cup, in my opinion, Germany.
Yeah.
I thought Toni Kroos in the central midfield was almost on his own at times.
McTominay is being helped off the pitch, and he's been substituted by Dimitri Mitchell, who's a 21-year-old fullback. Comes from the Fletcher Moss Rangers club in Manchester, which produced Marcus Rashford, who's not in America but has returned to training back home. Here's Lopez for Real Madrid. Poor ball, and Pereira makes a mess of trying to negotiate Isco, and it's a free kick to Real. Isco was one of the few Spanish successes in Russia, really. We mentioned that Germany underperformed. Spain weren't too far behind, were they? Scrambling late group stage points. Here's a shot on the turn by De Tomas.
Yeah, good move there. Just dropped the shoulder, went to the far post. Good defending. Hanging on slightly here, Manchester United.
Yeah, it's a corner kick for De Gea and co to negotiate. Isco takes it. Header is behind and wide. And it's De Tomas who got up. Looks the sort of player who has got a goal in him somewhere.
Just going to try and see the next 2 or 3 minutes out if they can. Try and get to in and around 83, 84, 5 minutes. And then you know you're nearly there for your Manchester United player. Try and get to 85 minutes with 5 minutes left and hang on. Try and keep hold of the ball. Real Madrid now got most of their big guns on the pitch.
Here's Isco. Yes, United are going to be asked some even more searching questions you fancy, with the likes of Isco, Marco Asensio and Toni Kroos in action now. Here's Oscar. And now Isco moving forward.
You see the way he went past Juan Mata like he wasn't there. I think Juan Mata spent.
And Herrera, another compatriot of Isco's, gets the ball clear. Here's Alexis Sanchez. Tackling back though was expertly done by Reguilon. Here's Asensio. Overlap down the right from Lopez, ignored by Asensio. This is Kroos. Asensio again. Isco. Cleverly into the box. Whipped across the face of goal by De Tomas. No one there at the back stick, but the danger is not clear yet for Manchester United. It's another useful cross. Oh, and how on earth did that not go in? Raul De Tomas arriving at the near post, off his foot and up and over the bar.
He's been on the pitch minutes, Thomas, and he's had 2 or 3 really good opportunities. He should score, really. You see David De Gea is absolutely fuming at the lack of marking. So again, it's at that near post. Actually, it might be a good save from De Gea. Might just come off that right boot.
It was a massively presentable opportunity for the 23-year-old Thomas, whose mother was from Dominican Republic, but he's a Spain under-19 international. Juan Mata, as you mentioned, didn't look as if he had anywhere near as much energy in the second half as he did in the first, has gone off. James Garner, one of United's youngsters, comes into the fray. On Merseyside, actually, but defensive midfield player who models himself on Michael Carrick, who's now on the coaching staff of Manchester United, of course. Here's Nacho, who scored memorably in that extraordinary game against Portugal in the World Cup, 3-3 with a Ronaldo hat-trick. Ronaldo no longer his teammate now, though, of course.
Yeah, two best goals in the tournament for me, Nacho or Pavard, take your pick. Both similar strikes, yeah. Beautiful technique.
Pavard's, I think, actually got the vote, didn't it, officially, as the pick of the bunch, and it was an extraordinary strike by the French fullback. Here's Asensio, good looking cross towards Thomas, decent header away though by Axel Tuanzebe.
Thomas is making some very good moves. He's going to the near post and just pulling away to the far post. Movement's very good.
6.5 minutes for Real Madrid to force a penalty shootout, or maybe even a win. That one's cleared, but Cruz has it. You could just feel the crowd sensing something might be on with the ball at his feet. Here's Isco instead. Decent block by the youngster Mitchell, who's just come on.
Got wonderful balance, Isco, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Very
centre
elegant
of gravity. This is Cruz.
Very elegant player when the ball's at his feet.
Still all Real in the second half, but without a goal. Demichi Mitchell heads clear. Here's Isco. There's an overlap from Lopez. Low ball in. And it's well defended by Manchester United.
Just getting lots of bodies now, Manchester United behind the ball. 6 minutes left on the clock.
64,000 inside the Hard Rock Stadium. Here's Cruz for Real. Clever ball, kept in but blocked at the first by Fosu Mensah. It really is hanging on that United are at the moment. Created absolutely nothing at all in the second half. I mean, the goalkeeper, Lunin, I can only recall having one touch, which was a clearance with his feet.
Yeah, well, they've never been in Real Madrid's half, really, Manchester United.
Here's Isco. Nice touch, good tackle though again by Fosu Mensah. Alexis Sanchez is an outlet for Manchester United and will always keep running. Can't reach that one.
Good play though from Alexis Sanchez. Yes. Even though he didn't win the ball, he's won Manchester United to throw in higher up the pitch, which will give the midfield players himself and that back four a little bit of a rest.
Well, for all the moaning and groaning that Mourinho's been doing this week, I think he'll be content that Alexis Sanchez is looking like somebody who is going to unleash himself on the Premier League, which starts for Manchester United. It's the first game of the season on a Friday night against Leicester City on August the 10th. No doubt Mourinho probably complain about the scheduling of that one as well.
And the interesting thing, where's Alexis Sanchez going to play? He'll probably play off the left-hand side. He's obviously not going to play through the middle. Lukaku will have that position sewn up.
Pereira is annoyed with the referee for awarding a free kick there for a foul on Sergio Asensio, which has been taken very quickly, that free kick. Here's Lopez.
Tony Cruz is an example to any youngsters watching the game, how he keeps the game nice and simple. Never really wastes a pass, Toni Kroos.
Sanchez has gone down holding his wrist, but again he's done what you were praising him for earlier.
Possession stats incredible, 69 to 31.
Yeah. Well, they had more possession in the first half, but didn't really do anything with it. Second half's been very different, but they're running out of time. Look at that. More than twice as many shots as Manchester United. Herrera with the free kick. Under on is by Garner. It's his first touch of the match. Captain of England's current under-17 side. Have United done enough, or can Real take us into a penalty shootout?
I don't think United have done enough at all. I think first half, very, very good. 8 out of 10, second half, they've been quite poor. Some of the players fatiguing slightly. On the ball, have not kept hold of it. Real Madrid's youngsters have dominated only over the last 5 minutes. As Lopetegui brought some of these big guns on, Toni Kroos and Isco, Asensio. The other team pushing for the next goal.
Here is Kroos. Nacho. Support from Isco.
Many red shirts behind the ball.
Kroos again. Isco. Pushing and probing and trying to find the right ball into the box. It's not the right ball, it's headed away by Mitchell. But not very far. Nacho. Oscar. As it comes to Reguilon. It's a foul by Darmian. To invite more pressure on Manchester United, although they're 1.5 minutes plus stoppage time away from getting their first regulation time win in this competition. It would take them to 5 points. It's a big if at the moment. There's the ball in. And it was well defended under pressure there. Sanchez, I think, got a touch in the box and it was diverted behind for a corner. And we know what Toni Kroos can do with set pieces. Here's his corner. Good header away, though, near post. And here's Sanchez, who'll look to hold up the play.
Yeah, handball. He's guilty of a handball there, Alexis Sanchez.
Claiming it was his shoulder, chest, but referee thinks otherwise.
Yeah, it looked like handball to me.
Isco. Ball in towards De Thomas. Shots on and clatters away off Herrera. Here's Isco. Tackled again by Herrera, but Real Madrid pick up the pieces. Here's Kroos. Now Asensio. Told there's going to be 3 minutes added on. Oscar. Nacho. Oh, it was always too high, and De Gea didn't really react. It nestled on the roof of the net in the end, but not quite the spectacular effort we saw against Portugal not so long ago.
He must have been super confident there, David De Gea. That was going high and wide, but it was ever so close.
It was.
Just dipping.
Good
right
angle of it here.
It?
I think he was fairly sure that it was too high. So we're into that 3 minutes of stoppage time now, with United clinging on to a slender lead.
I don't think United will show any ambition to try and get a third. They'll sit in, try and win it 2-1.
Sanchez has done a good job of holding things up, winning free kicks and chasing lost causes, just to keep them just about in front. Here's Isco.
I have to pick a man of the match of either side. I'd probably go Marcos Llorente for Real Madrid, young 23-year-old, and I'd go for Ander Herrera for Man United. I think he's played really well.
Yeah, I agree. Free kick taken quickly by Kroos. Isco. Short, big needed figure, finding Cruz again. Bit of space here. Useful looking cross, very good defending by Eric Bailly. He's well on top of the situation there with Borja Mayoral.
He's defended well. Eric Bailly put his body on the line once or twice.
This goes corner then. Cruz. Isco again. Cruz again. This time it's kind, the deflection into the gloves of De Gea.
John, if we work together again, I'll tell you about one of my pet hates. Short corners. Can't stand them.
I sometimes find, yeah, they're a little overused. I thought they were overused in the World Cup. I know what you mean. I think sometimes it's nice to vary it a bit, but
I understand,
agree with you.
I understand why. It's to try and drag players out of position, but as for a professional footballer, it's a lot easier to whip balls in when the ball's dead rather than when you played a short corner to then try and find a different angle.
Final minute of stoppage time. Have Real got what it takes to get themselves level? Here's Isco finding Oscar. Oscar tackled fairly in the mind of the referee, and United might just be able to see this one out. Here's Alexis Sanchez. He wants a foul, and he's not going to get one.
He should have just played it down the line to young Mitchell, who used the youngster's legs.
Isco. Low drive, but nowhere near enough power in that to trouble David De Gea. He's just going to sit on the ball for a few more seconds and hope that the referee blows his whistle. De Thomas with the effort that lacked power. He's got himself in good positions, hasn't he, De Thomas?
Yeah, his movement's been excellent.
That is it. Manchester United have beaten Real Madrid in this battle of the giants in the International Champions Cup. All the goals coming in the first half. Alexis Sanchez and Ander Herrera with crisply finish efforts for them, and then Benzema pulling Real Madrid back into the game just before half-time. They absolutely dominated the second half, but they couldn't find an equaliser. It's finished Manchester United 2, Real Madrid 1.